If you've been scrolling through endless speaker lists, watching video after video of people bragging about the best sound ever, and still feel torn between the flashy specs and the real-world experience, you're not alone. Maybe you've imagined a home theater that fills the room with thunderous bass, only to worry that the speakers you pick might end up looking great on the shelf but fall flat when you actually fire up a movie marathon. That's the exact spot where the Klipsch RF73 floor standing pair in natural cherry can either save you from a costly mistake or become another piece of core you never really use. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, let's talk about the kind of room you're likely to place these beasts in. The RF73 is a substantial floor standing speaker, tall, broad, and finished in a warm cherry veneer that leans toward a traditional aesthetic. Because of that size, they're best suited to living rooms or dedicated media spaces that have at least a 10-foot front-to-back dimension. If you live in a studio apartment or a cramped bedroom, you'll probably find the cabinets overwhelming, both visually and acoustically. The cabinets are bifurcated, meaning the front and rear portions are split, which helps with rear radiation control, but it also adds to the overall footprint. So, measure your wall space and think about placement before you order. Now, the most talked about feature here is the pair of 1-inch titanium compression drivers paired with a 90 by 90 compressed molded rubber Tractrix horn. In plain English, that means the speakers can push a lot of air quickly, translating into crisp highs and a surprisingly punchy mid-range. In practice, what you'll hear is a clear, detailed treble that brings out the subtle strings in a symphony or the sparkle of a vocal track, without getting hissy. For home theater enthusiasts, the horns also give you a tighter, more directional soundstage, which is why you'll notice that dialogue stays centered even when the action moves around the screen. Because the drivers are titanium, they're lighter and more rigid than traditional aluminum cones, which reduces distortion at higher volumes. If you're the type who likes to crank up the volume for a gaming session or a blockbuster movie night, you'll appreciate that the speakers don't start to sound tinny or lose detail at 85 dB SPL. The trade-off, however, is that the high-frequency response can be a bit forward. In a room with very hard surfaces, think lots of glass or bare concrete, you might find the highs a touch harsh after long listening sessions. Adding a simple rug, some curtains, or a bookshelf filled with books can tame that edge. One of the biggest hidden considerations is the need for a solid amplification plan. The RF73 isn't a powered speaker, it needs a decent receiver or amp that can comfortably deliver the power the drivers demand. If you pair these with a low-output receiver that's already been stretched thin by other components, you'll likely hear muddiness in the lower mids, and the speakers won't reach their true potential. Ideally, aim for an amp that can supply at least 200 watts per channel into an 8-ohm load, giving you headroom for dynamic peaks without distortion. This is an extra cost you need to factor in if you don't already have a suitable amp. Let's discuss who should actually consider buying these. If you're a serious audiophile who enjoys classical music, high-resolution jazz, or modern film scores and you have a dedicated space that can accommodate their size, the RF73 offers a blend of classic Klipsch punch and refined detail that aligns with that listening philosophy. Their natural cherry finish also appeals to those who want the speakers to blend with a traditional interior design rather than looking like a piece of industrial equipment. Moreover, if you already own a robust AV receiver and are looking to upgrade from entry-level bookshelf speakers, the RF73 can serve as a solid step-up, delivering a more immersive experience without immediately jumping to the flagship model tier. Conversely, you should skip these if you're on a tight budget, lack a suitable amp, or live in a small apartment where floor-standing speakers would dominate the space. The price point reflects not just the premium materials but also the engineering that goes into the bifurcated cabinet and the Tractrix horn. If you're primarily listening to casual pop music on a weekly basis, a smaller bookshelf system or even a high-quality soundbar might give you more bang for your buck. Also, those who prefer a neutral, flat sound signature might find the RF73 a little too forward in the treble range for everyday comfort. From a practical standpoint, the speakers are fairly easy to set up. The base is a simple wooden block that bolts onto the floor, and the cabinets come already assembled thanks to the manufacturing in Hope, Arkansas, so you won't have to wrestle with complicated assembly instructions. The only real installation step is routing the speaker wire from your amp to the speaker terminals, which are conveniently placed at the rear of the cabinet. I've seen owners use a single 14-gauge cable per speaker without any issues, but if